Dorothy Ofosuware. I am a pastor at Freedom Centre International. We're based in Welling. We have one in Peckham. We have some internationally as well. So, and yes, you come to our church. Very, 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 very wonderful daughter of mine. Yes. So anyway, so that's me. 3 fun facts. Okay. Number 1, I like shouting at my children. Is that a fun fact?
I mean, yeah, your children and the ones you've adopted, yes, you like, yes.
Yes. I'm very hands-on, and the more I'm in love with the person, the more I tend to be a little bit more tactile. So if you hear me sort of pinching somebody or kind of slightly raising my voice, then it just means I'm in love with you. So that's probably one fun fact. Okay, number 2, I don't know, I like traveling, and when I travel, I'm actually quite, somebody would say boring, you know, it's sort of I work, home, blah, 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 blah. But when I do travel, if I get to travel and I have nothing to do, I like to walk around, and people that I'm traveling with tend to find it really, really boring when I do that, but I get really excited about it. So one of my young ladies that I tend to travel with, my PA especially, I mean, because I've been watching, I love you. She gets really, really stressed about it. So I would say to her, come on, Kazai, let's go out and we'll take a walk. And I'll be really, really, I'll be like, oh my God, this is so amazing, isn't it? It's so relaxing. And then she would say, no. So I think that's a fun fact. And the 3rd fun fact is I am a child of God. I love the Lord and he loves me more.
Good.
So.
Good. See, that was easy. It wasn't too evasive with the fun fact. See, there we go. Okay. So wait, before we go into the questions, so when you talk about walking around, are you the one to appreciate all like the sights and stuff? Oh, then that's fine. That's all right.
I'm the one that likes to look at buildings.
Okay.
And just likes to just walk around and stuff like that. And I love going to markets.
Okay.
So especially if I go to an African country, I have to go to the market. And everybody hates that, you know, and especially if I go to Ghana, I have to go to the market. And one of my young ladies there who lives in Ghana always says to me, we that live here don't even go there. Why do you want to go to the market for? But I just love the buzz of the market, see what's out there. And I just kind of talk to the market ladies and stuff like that. And I find it really, really relaxing. I just think that because I'm kind of really, really busy person, so when I do something like that, it just relaxes me. Unfortunately, all the people that I'm with,
they're not interested.
No.
I hear you. Fair enough. Okay. I mean, everyone's got their guilty pleasures, so it's fine. It's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we're going to speak on feminism, and I put quote unquote feminism because it's all labelled, isn't it? So before we delve into that, I want you to describe to me what family looked like when you were growing up. When you think of family, what did it look like to you when you were growing up?
Right, so I was born in this country, and when I'm from Ghana. I'm Ghanaian. So I went back to Ghana, I don't know, it was about 6, 7. And when I went back to Ghana, in our home, typical home is my mother, my father, my siblings at the time, 2 siblings, and my uncles, cousins, auntie, the house help, the dog, my dog who kept giving birth to so many pups. You know, she was always pregnant.
Okay.
My dog was called Susie. I miss her forever. When I was a child, yes, she was called Susie.
Oh, okay.
She used to be pregnant like all the time, pretty much. Like 3 months after that, she'd have 6 pups. Then she'd have... So anyway, that was what family life was like. Then my grandma was also with us for a while. And then we would have, you know, people coming from the village that I still don't know who they were, but anyway, that's what family was like.
Okay, so it goes to show that I would like to assume that you had the whole the community raised you. So as much as your mum and dad were at home, everyone else seemed to be involved in your upbringing when you were growing up because everyone else was at home, wasn't it?
Well, I Yes, but the thing was, everybody else that was there, sort of like my uncles and stuff, my dad's brothers were younger, so they, you know, they were kind of like, some of them were like cool uncles, some were wicked uncles.
Okay.
But yeah, then my grandma was there as well, so yeah, she's kind of involved as well. Yeah.
Okay. And as a young British Ghanaian girl, so from age 6, 7, you've gone to Ghana. Were you allowed to dream as a girl? Were you allowed to be like, yeah, I want to be a pilot. I want to be, I don't know, whatever you wanted. Were you allowed to have all those insane dreams? That's what someone could describe it as, insane dreams. Were you allowed to have that?
Well, I guess, I mean, when I was a child, I used to daydream a lot. I was just one of those people. And I think that everybody thought like my head was in the clouds, you know. I'd spend all day playing with my dolls and kind of like talking to my dolls and blah, 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 blah. But yeah, I guess I was, you know, I could dream. But I think that as a child, I, you know, kind of hop from one thing to the other. In terms of, if you're talking about career and stuff, something like that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when I was a child at school, I mean, my older brother was really, really bright, yeah, and I'm kind of like 11 months younger than him, so we're kind of close. So there was a big divide between him and I. So I think that my parents were just like, oh, bless her, you know, whatever. But my father wanted me to be a secretary, you know, so it'd be great for me to be a bilingual secretary, French and English. Never mind the fact that I was actually terrible at French, but that's another story. But it was, yeah, but I think I was allowed to dream. Yeah, I could kind of, you know, think about whatever I wanted to do.
And do you reckon where do you think he got that inspiration from, that he wants his daughter not to just be a secretary, but a bilingual secretary? Where do you think he got that idea from?
I have no idea. I just think that I probably thought it might be cool to, you know, for his daughter to, you know, and of course I was a girl as well, you know, it wouldn't be like, could be a doctor, but then I wasn't smart enough to be a doctor. But yeah, I don't know, he just thought that I should be a bilingual secretary.
Okay, so and how did you learn to change that narrative? Because last I checked, you're not the secretary, so how did that work?
Yeah, well, I've got to say that when I was a kid, like when I was really young, in terms of career, at the time when I was growing up, every child wanted to be an air hostess because that was like really, really, really popular, like, oh, you know. But I genuinely didn't want to be an air hostess. I think I wanted to be a nurse. I actually wanted to be a nurse. I thought that, you know, that would be nice. But I wasn't, you know, I wasn't really that, to be honest, I wasn't thinking in terms of that. I just wanted to, I guess, just hope for the best and finish school and see what would happen. And it wasn't until I was getting slightly older. So we're talking now when I was a kid, like 8, 9, 10, you know, that's what I wanted to be, a nurse.
Yeah. So at what age did you think, okay, maybe this is what I want to become? And then suddenly what changed that narrative? So you're speaking about what everyone else wanted, to be an air host or whatever. What do you think triggered that change for you to now go into the other career aspects and prospects that you took, that turn you took?
Well, to be honest with you, I feel like I fell into my career by chance, but it's only now, in retrospect, how old I am and having gone through the career and everything, I realized that God was ordering my steps. Like I said, when I finished, I think, my O-levels, yeah, I pretty much kind of wanted to be a midwife. So that was where I was kind of heading. But I wasn't really great at science. I was more what we call in Ghana arts subjects. So I was very good at, you know, that sort of thing, like English, like literature, that type of thing. But I kind of feel like I wanted to be a midwife. So I enrolled, I got I got a place at Waltham Forest College to do midwifery. And I remember very well coming down the steps thinking, yes, I've made it. But don't tell my father. But my father was like, no, you're not going to be a midwife. Make sure my dad doesn't watch this, right?
That's up to you. That's your responsibility.
So, yeah. So I think at the time he now was trying to kind of get me to get a degree you know. So it was like, oh no, just do your A levels and stuff like that. And so I, you know, I got convinced that, okay, what I'll do is I'll do my A levels. And I did do my A levels. And then when I did my A levels, I did like sociology, history, and God knows. Folks, if you're watching, this is what happens. When you get to your 50s, you actually forget what else you did. I can't remember what the subjects is. It's gone out of my head right now.
And another subject.
Yes, another. So anyway, when I did that, after I did that, then I was a little bit confused. And then I had a year out and I worked in a solicitor's office. But then at the time, I was like, you know, my dad and I was kind of pushing me, go and be a lawyer. And I thought, okay, maybe not. So I ended up doing a degree in social policy and administration. Social policy being like the welfare state, the study of the welfare state. This is like 80s and stuff. At the time, the welfare state is tight. You know, everything is, you know, benefits, NHS, you know, how it runs and stuff. So I did do that. And I found that while I was doing it, I was, you know, quite interested in it, blah, blah, blah. So did that. But the course that I did, majority of the people, because it wasn't specific, it was a general course. It was a bit like maybe you do sociology or you do English. So what you kind of find your feet. Majority of the people did social work. So most of them that graduated through that course would do social work. Some did, you know, would maybe go into NHS management or something, you know, that sort of thing. So when I got to the end of it, I didn't want to do social work. I knew that I didn't want to be a social worker. I wanted to go into administration, the NHS graduate training scheme, and I applied. I went to Portsmouth. Yeah, this point you say yes. So I applied to go to the NHS in Portsmouth. Unfortunately, I did not get it. So I was devastated. I was like, my life was over because I wanted to go into NHS management and hopefully rise and stuff like that. But actually, oftentimes I look back at it and think, well, you know, because as a result of that, I had to come home. And it was exactly that time I met my husband, like literally in a few days we met. And then in terms of that, you know, the rest, they say, is history. But anyway, having said all that, when I finished, graduated, I was kind of bumming around. And here comes my dad again, got me a job. So instead of sitting at home, I have a friend who has the guy was running like a little community project. So he had housing association. He had like a little housing association. He had an immigration surgery, and then he had like a training. What do you call it? Like he had a training contract. So he was training people and stuff. So I went to be his PA. No experience whatsoever, but I went and I was doing his PA, and then. The person that was doing his training contract and teaching, they were teaching administration. It was an administration like entry kind of into admin course. But she went to Canada on holiday and called back about a couple of days later and said, oh, by the way, I'm not coming back. I'm relocating. It was like
after she had...
Yeah, obviously she'd planned it, but she didn't let us know. So she called and said, oh, she's not going to come back. The guy had a contract. He had to deliver the contract because the Department of Education was on his back, like he needed to produce results. He had no teacher. And I was there as a PA, and these girls would come in every day and were disturbing me. So they would come and they'd just be talking. These were like 17, 18-year-olds. So I got fed up one day and said to them, are you supposed to be working? What are you supposed to be doing? And they said, we don't know. So I brought the manual from up, you know, somewhere, and I decided that I would look in and give them work to do. Well, when I started doing it, I realized this is actually, you know, it's quite good. I was enjoying it. They seemed to be enjoying me doing it. So I started looking through the scheme of work, the syllabus, and trying to figure out what I could do. Started going through the textbook, and I realized that actually I enjoyed it. So this is a bit of a long story. So on my way to work, there was this huge training company in Hackney that I used to pass on the bus. And once I started getting really interested in it, I would look at that company every day when I was coming. So I thought to myself one day that what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my CV into them and apply to see if they'll take me on as a trainer, you know. So I did that, sent a covering letter and told them that I was kind of working with these young girls and blah, blah, blah. And well, they never got back to me. So about 3 months later, I got a phone call. Is that Dorothy Ofosuware? So I was at the time. Yes, you sent in your CV to us, blah, blah, blah. Are you still interested? Oh, yeah. So I went for the interview and blabbed my way through it. I had no clue what they were talking about. I didn't understand anything, some way, somehow. And said at the time, I used to do announcements in my church. And so that gave me confidence in terms of actually how to present myself. And I remembered very well, they asked me this question like, okay, so you'd have to do induction. And for induction, you have to speak to like 20 people at a go. Do you think that you'll be able to do that? Oh, yeah, I will give announcements in my church. You know, I had 200 people or something. Okay, blah, 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 blah. And they got back to me and said, okay, we will offer you the job. Well, when I started the job, I could do that induction, all right, but I could not work the word processor because I lied to them that I knew how to do it. But anyway, long story short, I ended up in that company. And then I was there for a few years. I got trained, I got qualifications in terms of teaching and blah, blah, blah. And then I moved on from there to another place. And then I did my PGC and ended up spending many, many happy years as a tutor, trainer, lecturer in adult education. And that's what happened to me.
I think, do you know what? I think it's such a great experience you've had. And the last part is what made me even smile more. The fact that you said you didn't know how to work the word processor, but you still said you could. And it's funny to talk about feminism, actually, because I was talking to my sister about this the other time, and she was saying that women do not tend to apply for certain jobs because they're so honest about everything, and if they can't do something, they're not going to apply for it. Whereas a man will probably take 2 things out of the 20 things on the job spec, still apply for it, and basically